Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt. That's me on the radio, on podcasts, on Facebook Live, on YouTube, and you can search for older episodes on talklawradio.com. I talk about all kinds of laws. I've talked with Alex about gun laws, about eminent domain. I've talked to Daniel about criminal laws. We talked about that mass shooting with the criminal psychologist. We also talked about entertainment law and
juvenile law.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so now we're going to talk about all the laws that happened during Fiesta. And what I found out was there's an ordinance that sets all of this in motion where the city contracted with the Fiesta Commission to put on all of this stuff. There's a lot of organization that has to go into it. But regular people like you and me don't really see all the background things happening, that all the organization that has to take place. All we know are that there's these events. So what are y'all's favorite events?
You know, it's hard. That's always a hard thing to answer, and it changes fairly often. But I would say if I had to choose one, it's been the same one since I was a kid, which is the Fiesta Flambeau Parade, or the night parade, which is basically the last Saturday of Fiesta.
It's pretty spectacular.
Yeah. And yeah, the big thing about it is I think it's the largest illuminated parade in the country, I want to say. So it's a really big deal, and it's something that I actually don't think I've ever missed a year until COVID when we didn't have it.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm there every year.
And so think back to some of those experiences. What are some tips that would help somebody who's just for the first time going to try and experience that?
Map out where your seats are, where your bleacher seats are, wherever you're sitting before you get down there, and have an idea of where you're going to park before you get down there, because it's an enormous event. And so knowing, especially even if you're going to eat, like where you're going to be getting food, planning all of that out helps tremendously, because it's very, very easy to get lost.
Were your parents like the Griswolds, or was this all planned out and very efficient?
Yeah, so when it's a lot easier to get tickets to the different parades now. But I know, Alex, remember, when we were growing up, I mean, you had to know people that had access to get tickets. So it was a lot harder. So when I was growing up, we would, my parents and our family and a bunch of our friends, there's probably 40, 50 of us, would all get in one section together. And so that's how we would do it every year. It was always a big event.
And that probably made it easier.
Oh, yeah, a lot easier.
How about you, Alex? Have you been to that parade?
Oh, the Flambeau? That's the parade. I didn't actually go to the parade, but I was there for the parade the night I had my first date with my wife.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been to the Flambeau.
And what are some tips that you would offer?
Well, I have a different favorite event.
Okay, what is it?
It'd be the River Parade.
Tell us why.
The River Parade's put on by the group I'm a member of, the Texas Cavaliers. There's a lot of effort that goes into it. It's the main source of revenue for the Texas Cavaliers Charitable Foundation that supports children's charities across San Antonio. They've raised more than $8 million. It's completely put on by us. We get some help from, San Antonio River Authority with some of their barges, but it's just an incredible experience to be part of. And, but tips for that, a lot of the same tips that Daniel has. You got to plan out how you're going to get down there, how you're going to get back. Think about getting there either real early or, how late are you going to stay? But, if you're taking little kids, have provisions for keeping track of them, because it gets crowded, and it's a production. It's an event.
It's a good point, because it's, the river parade's a lot smaller than the flambeau parade, but the spots are a lot more difficult to get to.
Yeah, it's
so
more,
you have to plan it out.
It's more densely packed. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. It's literally not as big, but it's as many people.
Mhm.
You know.
Well, I went to Nyosa when my kids were little one time, and my tip is to bring snacks for the kids, because you don't know how long it's going to take to get there, and you don't know when you're going to get to eat, really, because you have to stand in line.
Well, and if you've seen the way the chairs are set up, you can be like right on the edge of the river. You can get kind of locked in.
Mhm.
You're not getting up till the parade's over.
Yeah. So bring snacks. My middle child, Thomas, he would get very angry if he was hungry. And so,
Angry.
Angry Thomas.
I would bring bacon, from the morning breakfast, fruit bars, granola bars, anything that's easy to carry, because then, nobody's having fun if the kids are crying.
Well, it's funny, when I was a kid, we didn't have iPhones and iPads and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of waiting around sometimes. If anything in Fiesta that's a big event, you got to get there really early to not make it a nightmare.
Yeah.
I also have another really good tip. My wife made fun of me and called me a nerd for doing this last year, but
Well,
that's okay. It can be very difficult sometimes to find water, and especially to find water that is anywhere reasonably priced. And it really stinks, especially if you're at the parade, to have to get up and go look around for it.
Take
So
your Stanley with you.
I took my Camelback
Oh, nice.
with me
Yeah, I have one.
last year, and I got teased by my family, but I was the most hydrated person, at the Flambeau parade. So
Yeah.
That's just a good idea in general. Have a backpack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Daniel, tell us about, you were telling me the other day about your parents working at a booth at one of the events. What is that about?
Yeah, so you can volunteer to work different booths at Fiesta. The proceeds will go to different organizations. A lot of them go back, obviously straight to the city. But there are booths that are manned during Nyosa typically. It can be at other events, but that's the primary one that my parents were involved with. And so it could be, you kind of don't know what you're getting. It could be chicken on a stick. I think their friends and them are doing it this year. They're doing Reuben sandwiches.
Wait, do you mean you don't know what you're getting as the vendor?
As the vendor.
Oh,
Yeah.
you don't know what you're slinging?
You don't know what you're going to be selling. And so, it's been kind of this tradition, I guess, it's been going on. I know we found out earlier this week that our senior paralegal, I think it was her and her parents did the same thing when they were
Yeah.
growing up at Nyosa as well.
Yeah.
Everybody has Fiesta experiences.
I was asking everybody what their earliest childhood memory of Fiesta was, and Cheryl said making the shoebox of like a river or a float, a parade float. Did y'all do that?
Oh yeah, I think I had mentioned that to you before. In elementary school, we did the shoebox floats, and even when I was in preschool, we would create these floats, put them on like a little skateboard, and then tie the skateboard to the back of our tricycles, and we did a little parade at the school. So I mean, it's ingrained in you from a very early age.
My school never did that, and I feel like I'm going to have to go have a word with them because I feel like I missed out.
Well, what is something that you did way back then?
God, we'd make cascarones, and the big things I remember were like, maybe this sounds a little self-involved, but like I remember as a little kid, like King Antonio coming to visit the schools.
Yeah, that's right.
It was the biggest production, and he was like the president of the United States,
Yeah.
and it's really weird because now I'm seeing people that are my age, people I know that are King Antonio. I'm like, oh.
And so what's the background about that? What is that position for?
Well, it's voted on by the membership, and sort of the head of the Cavaliers for Fiesta.
Oh, okay.
And it's, you have to show leadership within the organization, and it's pretty hard to just throw your hat in the ring without any history of you gotta help with the river parade.
Mhm.
Can you explain where the El Ray Feo term came from?
No, I can't remember.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Do you know, Daniel?
I don't. I was curious.
But that's like another dignitary of the fiesta.
Did it originate from LULAC?
It might have.
I can't remember. I don't know. That bottom line, I don't know. But yeah, El Ray Feo is sort of the alter ego for King Antonio, you know, and has a lot of the same kind of traditions.
And he would come visit the schools as
yeah.
well.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like a satire.
Wait,
type
and it's very
thing.
much the Ray Feo tradition has. It's not a satire. The Ray Feo tradition has grown a lot since I was a kid. Whereas, you know, when I was little, I remember when the first time, oh wait, Ray Feo, who's this new king, came to the schools, and so, but it's much more, you know, it's a much bigger deal these days.
You mentioned the cascarones. I was texting my inner circle about what are your earliest childhood memories, and my friend Rick said that his mom would poke a hole in the egg and have it drain out, and then when Rick went to school and they finished the eggshells, she felt very embarrassed about how precise she had been with the pinhole in getting the egg out of the shell, because the hole that you have to make a bigger hole to put the confetti in it.
Yeah. Oh. And now I see what you're saying. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I guess I just, you know, I was in school back in the days when you probably wouldn't get expelled for having a cascarone.
Yeah.
I feel like those wouldn't fly in today's environment.
Yeah, and my friend Shannon, she said that her mom did the same thing. Getting eggs and then cleaning them out. She remembered that whole process. Well, nowadays you just go to H-E-B and you can buy cascarones.
No. You get your San Antonian license revoked for that.
Yeah, because that was.
Oh, okay.
It's like charging for chips and salsa.
We did the same thing when we were young, and it's funny because as we speak, there are eggs draining at my house.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
kidding. Yeah.
So that's a very big tradition.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, look,
Yeah.
in a pinch, nobody's going to yell at you if you buy cascarones from H-E-B, but
As long as they're
Come
from
on.
H-E-B and not Walmart.
yeah.
though.
Okay,
No.
all right. I'll concede that.
What's another event that we haven't talked about yet that would be fun to go to? You mentioned something in the square.
Yeah, I mean, Market Square is kind of the hub, downtown, and there's performances, there's food, it's sprawling, throughout downtown, kind of what San Fernando Cathedral is as the center point. But yeah, it's really fun, and that's, if someone's never been to Fiesta and they want a taste of
That's
it.
just a beautiful part of downtown.
It is. I think it's a great opportunity to like get the flavor of Fiesta. You can go. It starts in the morning.
You can see where Daniel was married.
I was married at San Fernando Cathedral,
okay.
so yeah. And so yeah, it's fun. And another one that I did want to mention, because when my son, he's 9 now, but when he was much younger and we were going to Fiesta, we had wanted to take him to a children's event, and there was a great one that we had gone to called Fiesta de los Niños, which is just a specific kids event, and it's alcohol free. It's during the day, so it's a good event that I think a lot of people didn't know about, especially with kids.
I would like to recommend something that I think a lot of people don't know about is the Beethoven Manor Corps, which is just fun.
I've been there.
It's like the closest thing to Bavaria you're going to get.
Yeah,
it's so close.
Even outside of Fiesta,
Yeah.
it's cool to go to.
Yes.
Good food too.
And where
Schnitzel,
is that? How do they find it?
It's downtown. What street's it on? I can't remember. Yeah, you just Beethoven Manor Corps. You're not gonna mix it up with anything.
Yeah, Google Maps.
Yeah, it's a beer garden.
But do they have a special event for
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, it's
For
called
Fiesta?
drinking beer.
No, I
Yeah,
mean,
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's just you show up and people are fiestaing there.
Oh, okay. Well, we got to take another break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about the children's events and how to keep your kids and your family safe. Stay tuned.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the 10 Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.